New York Women in Film and Television Brunch, sponsored by HIFF.
Why don't you tell us about your upcoming projects?
Thank you. Very happy to be at the Hamptons Film Festival for Women in Film and HIFF. I have a film called Bombay's Most Wanted, which is going into production in Bombay this coming Thursday. I'm very excited. Sarita Chowdhury is starring with John Ventimiglia, Tanisha Chatterjee, Shandan Roy, and some other superstars from the Indian Bollywood world who are gods in India. And it's an independent film, so it's not a Bollywood film, and it's about the Indian mafia underworld. So they're very excited to have someone from Sopranos coming to India to do this film about the Indian mafia, the equivalent. So there's that, and I've been involved as a casting director, and I've been helping with production as well. And then I guess prior to that, I produced 2 other movies, which one is Good as Dead, which was on Showtime and opened at the Quad with Andy McDowell and Brian Cox and Kerry Elwes and Frank Whaley.
Sarah, time to get up.
You look a lot like your dad. Very mature.
What do you want from me? An eye for an eye, a laugh for a laugh. You think I'd kill someone?
Do you recognize me? I remember you. December 7th, 1999. Do you remember that day in West Virginia? I think I was allowed to survive so that one day I would find you.
Please. You got the wrong guy. I know you did it, as it takes a cold-blooded killer to know a cold-blooded killer. Maybe you listen if I cut your eyelid.
You can still save yourself.
Why are you doing this? I'm not part of this. She's not part of this.
Sorry, Ethan. You have chosen this path.
Please don't do this.
What the hell do we come here for? Answers and the truth. And I ain't heard none of that yet.
Did you do it?
You know I didn't.
Which I also wrote with my husband, Jonathan Mossack. So we have a production company called Major Motion Pictures, and I basically cast computer games now as well as movies. We're doing very big computer games for the biggest British company. They spend like $5 to $14 million per game. So it's a very good opportunity for actors. If actors are interested, it seems like it's a dead end, but it's really not. It's a very good opportunity because they spend so much money promoting them. So I'm kind of interested in that. I'm interested in what's going on in India because they're making 1,000 movies a year. And it's a very good opportunity for filmmakers because it's the biggest English language speaking country. I don't think people realize that, but they want English language movies. So if American filmmakers want to really make a difference and get their movies out, this is a good time to write movies that can be made in India because there is interest. They love American movies and they want movies that will cross over with the American Indian audience. So Indian American.
I'm part American Indian, so yes. She makes everything just sound so easy, you know. so lucky. A lot of the women today are just really powerful and have had a long career. How did you get started in this business to become so successful?
Oh my God, I feel like it's a big struggle even now. But I wrote a movie which I tried to get produced for a number of years, and I watched other producers not succeeding, and I realized I should try myself. And then myself and my husband actually, we decided we'd make the movie with our own money. And we had 50 grand, and then my landlord said, I'll give you some money. We had a reading with Melissa Leo, and it was a tremendous reading. Unfortunately, she didn't end up doing the movie. But it is absolutely true. I think Andy Fierberg, who produced Secretary, said something very true. She said films have their own momentum. Once if you believe in a film, it will happen. If you just don't give up, And I think I've learnt that lesson, which is you just have to go into it as if collecting your nose, knowing that you'll get no's, but just keep going, Well,
yeah, you have to definitely keep going, and that's what you're doing. Now, here at the festival, there's great films, amazing individuals. However, with the social network and media and iTunes and Netflix, what do you think about the future of distribution?
I think that people have to broaden their sights at this point. I had a situation with my first movie, with As Good as Dead, that we were about to go to DVD, getting a DVD online release, and it was the end of the movie because the distributor, after the New York Times review came out, which was fantastic, didn't want to pay for P&A, very hard to get P&A. And that's usually the point most filmmakers give up. And they say, okay, we've made our movie, we were lucky, now I'll go, they crawl back into their holes. And you really, the truth is what you shouldn't do is crawl back into your hole. You need to go to the movie theaters yourself. You need to go and reach out and get your movie screened, because if you do, you'll get a review. If you get a review, you can get a sale to Showtime. There is a connection there, and it's actually, if you don't get the review, you won't get the sale to Showtime. Very likely, you might get a sale. So you get a sale to a cable channel. If you get the sale to Showtime, you get a better price. That's basically there's sort of connection. A lot of filmmakers now are also just through the Quad. I understand. My friend Elliot Casbar, who owns the Quad, set up the system where essentially filmmakers can have their own tabs on their websites. He came up with this idea, and people could actually release their movies online themselves and collect the money themselves, which I think is a very good idea. If you're doing an independent movie with your own money and you want to see it back, then you should probably do that. If you do an MG, a minimum guarantee, or pre-sales, a minimum guarantee of the distributor, then the likelihood is you won't see any more money back. You'll only see the money that the distributor gives you as an advance. So it's a real, it's a risk, and people should know that, because many people make one movie only, and it's very sad because they don't realize this rule, and then they can't afford to make another one. Nobody will give them that opportunity again. It's like the end. Whereas if you it's all about how you structure the financing. So even if you're really desperate, don't take money from anyone. It's okay to take it from your landlord. But be very careful about the sources of the money, and also do not assign your rights. All of them. I did that in my first movie, and that was a mistake. And you should always do a step agreement where the money essentially as the money comes through, your rights get assigned. I've just talked to actually every filmmaker at this event today that I've spoken to. All the new ones don't seem to know this rule, and it's something that you get caught out on, because these people come along and they offer you money, they put it in your face, and then you give your rights, and then you've lost your movie.
Well, what's happening with a lot of independent filmmakers is that they have a major brand that's available that wants to do distribution on the films, but they're not giving advances. They're just putting them down. Yeah, that's like the big thing that's happening right now.
I would be very wary. The trick is to hold on to, if you can sell off some territories, the foreign territories like England, France, Germany, sell those off. Germany has a lot of money. France has money for films. England doesn't have so much money, but it depending on who the cast are, they will pay. And you can find out what people's value is. And then, if you have two solid British names, or one solid, you can get 200,000 is a good British sale. So to give your world rights away for 300,000 as an advance, makes no sense. The average U.S. advance was like $300,000 2 years ago for a U.S. deal, and now it's like 100. And so a lot of people are giving away the U.S. for 100, but when you realize that Canada on its own is worth 70, Canada is worth 70 on its own. So don't give away your U.S. for 100.
She knows a lot about this business. I believe you should write a book. So I'm really excited. So we've learned to shoot in India, to not give away our rights as filmmakers. And so besides distribution, how do you keep the momentum up in the industry? And that'll be our final question.
Momentum. You mean pay your bills? I think you have to branch out. If you're producing, you need to find another, string to your bow. And, I'm doing casting. I found out I could do some casting, so I'm casting and producing. And there's a lot of, if you diversify, I think then you can survive in the business. I think as a woman, if you're a woman producer, it's really tough otherwise, because you have to find a way to be useful to people, always. And they have to see that you have more than one purpose, usually. If it's just about the money, somebody has more money than you. Somebody's prettier than you. Somebody has, there's always somebody smarter than you, and you're just not going to be able to compete. But if you have more than one thing that you can offer, then, like, if you can figure out a distribution angle or something, or you can, then I think you have a currency.
You are the lady. And when we were having our conversation, I understand you have a film that Spike Lee, the Honorable Spike Lee, is going to be executive producing?
Yes, I'm very, very proud to say. A movie called Son of the South, set during the same 1961, same year that Obama was born, and the same year that The Help is set. It's set in Alabama, and Barry Alexander Brown is the writer and the director of that movie, and we're very, very excited about it, especially now that The Help has been so successful and attracted audiences. Everyone said, oh, this is a black movie, no one will see this movie, no one wants to pay for this movie. Now everyone is interested, everyone is reading it, because I just have to say, well, The Help has made, how much has it made? It made 100 and, I think we're up to 200 something. I don't know what it is now, but it's like 200 something million, and it was made for 15. So audiences are really interested in learning about the civil rights movement, and this is the period, and it's about a white guy from Alabama who, from a Ku Klux Klan family, who's based on Bob Zellner's story, who was a very important civil rights, southern white civil rights man who crossed over to the other side. And I think Spike Lee liked it because it was funny. And it's very intelligent and has a lot to say about how people find the courage inside to stand up when a system is wrong. And in this case, it was the system of apartheid being practiced in America, which people are they're aware of it because of The Help, but I think they need still to hear more stories because it's very illuminating.
Well, it is, especially in an era where obviously multicultural is a beautiful thing, but people don't know the history. A lot of history, or even schools are not teaching the history of this country even.
That's true. And I found when I saw The Help, I heard people crying, like really sobbing their eyes out. And I just assumed they would be middle-aged folks like me. And I then the lights came up and I looked around me and they were like 20-year-olds. They were kids. And I started asking the people around me, did you like this movie? And they said, we had no idea that this went on in America.
Well, they're not teaching it anymore in school. Even though they have Black History Month, Black History Month is just not really even accepted in a lot of schools anymore.
Yeah, no, it's wrong. It's bad because if you bury this history, then you bury the pain, and the pain has to be released, I think, and people have to be acknowledged for the heroism, because it's actually real American heroes, and it's nice to have a story that is actually showing real courage and people who acted under courage, and instead of seeing films about people who go to wars to be heroes, they actually were people in this country who became heroes for the acts the courageous acts that they took, to try and liberate the South, which I think is in our lifetime.
I'm from South Carolina, so I understand. Yes.